Bosh, welcome back.
Yo, people, what is happening? We are in your ears with another Jack and Luke special, the goods that you have come for. I have also realized that Jack tried to start talking at the start of this podcast, but I didn't allow it because I'm a cunt and I want to take up all of the fucking spotlight.
Yeah,
And
pretty
now
much.
we're definitely not getting any views because I've swore in the first minute of the podcast.
Is that how that works? I don't even know if that's how that works. To be fair, I always mark it as
Yeah, mate,
being.
they wreck you. They wreck you. That's what I've heard.
I always mark it as having explicit language in it. So I don't know. Maybe
Oh, it
that's
does have
marking us down.
explicit language, to
It
be fair.
definitely does. Um,
Yeah.
how's your week been? How close to the shoot are we? Give us a rundown.
Mate, man is 4 days out.
Oof.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah. And I'm feeling good today. I don't know why. I'm feeling very good today.
Are we peaking currently?
Pretty well, almost peaking. He's still got a dead physique. He's not peaked yet.
Oh, depleted.
Yeah. So I had my first high day after losing about 27 pounds last week. And that was literally heaven because I was dragging my ass before that. I felt good for 2 days and then I felt fucked again. But this week, I'm knowing that I'm getting more food tomorrow. I'm feeling a bit better, I think. So yeah, last 2 days on 1,400 calories today. Still half-hour cardio, training to 2 reps in reserve. All intensifiers and that sort of thing have been pulled as well. So that's pretty nice. But yeah, so 2 days low food as normal, which is what all my carbs for the day are: 40 grams of oats, 65 gram of core, and 200 grams of potato, and then 15 carb from fruit. That's all I get, mate.
Decent. Could be worse.
So
Could be worse.
trenches, and then tomorrow is just carbs only, like no trace or anything. It's like just over 300 carb, I think I worked out.
Decent.
So a decent amount. We'll run 2 days of that. Meals will be 20 grams of protein from whey. So 30 grams whey, 110 grams of oats, 100 grams of raspberries, and 10 grams of dark chocolate. 2 meals of that. So one pre, one post. No, one first thing, one post. And then I might do core for one of them, though, to be honest, just so it's a bit nicer. Can't lie. And then the other meals are 90 grams of rice with 150 chicken. And then the other one is 400 grams of potato with 150 beef, normal veg, all of that in there. Salt is upped by an extra gram per meal. So that's going to be juicy. But because it's sort of carb loading, the protein's a bit lower, which then means that I've had to basically take 50 grams of protein out from when I meal prep. So I now have this a fucking abomination of a meal, which is just half beef, half chicken, mate. I feel like you.
Oh, mate, the chicken beef combo that I used to run.
It's so horrible. I don't understand how you.
Nah, I like it.
I haven't actually tried it yet, so it might be good, but you ate it, so it's probably not.
I rate beef mince. For anyone who doesn't know what this is, not the push-up I've just wrapped up, the push-up I did with Christian a year ago, I got lazy with meal prep. I just like chuck my beef and my chicken in the air fryer at the same time, and then I just take it out as one meal and just portion it up across like however many meals, like 3 or 4 meals or whatever.
Wait, so you air fry it
together?
What, just like the lumps? The mince?
The lumps.
Is it mince?
Yeah.
Well, how the fuck can you air fry that? Surely it's dead, mate.
You never air fried mince? It's peng. It's good.
No, fuck that, man.
It's good. But I used to literally, because I like beef mince, so it's kind of like, I remember I'd get to the meal, I'd eat all the bits of chicken first to get it out of the way, and then I basically had like a little beef meal. And I was like, yeah, loving it. It was class. the weird shit that you do in a fucking deficit or in a small surplus, honestly.
Yeah, but I'll do that on probably after the shoot. Just take that with me because it's a bit of a weird meal. And then after that, we're running one more low day where we will, so 2 days of loading with an extra gram of salt in each meal. So like 12 grams of salt total for the day with all of those carbs, that sort of thing. Water up by a tiny bit, not anything crazy. I mean, I already have like 6.5 liters a day anyway. So I'll probably just bump it up to 7.5. And then the final low day is, what is it? Fucking, I think it's more water, and then salt comes down across the day. So it's like 1.5 in the first 2 meals, 0.5, and then 0.5 again. Or no, 1.5, 1, 0.5, 0.5, something like that. Fuck knows. And then shoot day, I'll just have some oats and shit in the morning.
Calm. Sounds like a
So
plan,
yeah,
Stan.
it'll be nice, mate. I'm looking forward to it.
As you should be. You're gonna get tanned.
Yeah, I'm getting my spray tan on Thursday, so I'm going to be a dirty boy by the time the shoot comes around because I won't be able to have a proper shower until
Oof.
Saturday.
Oof. Fun
Yeah,
times. Who's the
but
shoot
then I'm
with?
gonna Steve Winter, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that'll be all right. And then I'm gonna have a steak with my mum and her partner when I get back because I want a steak.
Valid.
I want a steak. And then roast on Sunday, which is going to be very, very nice. And what the listeners will probably notice is that neither of those are a really fucking shit meal because I'm not a bell end. Okay. Like, if you get fat after you finish dieting, you've just been a cunt. I,
Yeah, it is usually
especially
pretty
if you
hard to
diet
do.
pretty extremely, you need to treat it like you are still dieting
Yeah, 100%.
because
You're.
otherwise,
Go on, mate.
like, of course, you fucking end up fat when you've gone from eating fuck all calories to eating fucking loads of tasty shit that makes it way easy to overeat your calories. Like, of course, that's what happens. What the fuck do you expect to happen there? So, a new baseline diet will go in, and funnily enough, I'll eat that. I
Yep.
won't just fucking binge my face off. And realistically, that's what I need to do because I don't want to get above like 160 in between across November, December, January, February, March.
Mm.
So that gives me like 5 months, 15 pounds
Yep.
to gain, which is not a lot. But I like a slow rate of gain anyway, because if I start getting towards 170, those like going from 170 to even like high 150s,
Mm-hmm.
my physique doesn't really change. I don't look that much better because I just get a bit less fat. But when you're really fat, you don't notice when you get a bit less fat. It's
Yeah.
still the same. Do
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
That's pretty much the phase that I'm in now of like, we've not got to peak body weight. The goal isn't to get to peak body weight. We're pretty much like as fat as we want to be.
Yeah,
And now it's a case of like pulling down to not quite as lean as we want to be, but just like pulling
that's
down. The basically like the kind of main place that we're aiming to hover around is like 190 to 200, potentially
okay.
185, like from here
Yeah,
until
yeah,
prep. I want to start prep at 190. I'm currently about
right.
200, 205. Plan is to pull down to 190 as rapidly as possible. Tom said 6 weeks, but if we hit there beforehand, sick, we'll just end things early. Um,
Ouch.
yeah, I don't really mind though. Like, I'm kind of I don't mind it, to be honest. I miss being like very lean, and I'm seeing a lot of people prep, and I'm seeing you prep as well, so I'm kind of like in the mood to do it. So I'm like, okay, I might as well do it. But the goal is to pull down to like 190, not go all the way down to 180 again, and like sub 180. That was fucked. Um,
Ouch.
Go to 190.
Was that so? That's where you pretty much ended up at your last diet. Yeah.
Yeah. Like 190 was the last time where we took check-in shots and we were like, okay, we're like impressively lean instead of just being lean. Like
Yeah, I get you.
now it's the only thing that was kind of out at 190 is like my low back, glutes and hamstrings, but the rest is pretty much like there's ab veins and there's striations and that's what we want. But the goal
Mate,
is
that's the same. That's the same as me. Like,
yeah,
I don't know, glutes, hams, quads, and then a bit of like lower ab.
yeah. That's usually the area that comes up. To be fair, my quads get fairly lean, but like my hamstrings and glutes, that takes a while to dig. But yeah, the goal is
Mm.
like basically as soon as it's like get down to 190, really slowly get back to like 200, down to 190, potentially up to 200
Yeah,
again, start prep at 190. And we reckon like from 190 max it will be a 30 pound prep. I'm hoping it will be less. Um, but we'll see. But like we were talking, like me and Tom were talking, and it's like, okay, we don't need to diet now. We might potentially diet over Christmas. That's not really ideal. I don't really want to diet through Christmas, and I also don't want to get too far. Like, I'm still pretty like we're happy with the composition, but scale weight is getting fairly high, and like
Yeah.
it's getting a little bit iffy. You know what I mean? Particularly with anabolics because you don't know how much of it is glycogen, how much is water. Like you don't want to. It's like, oh yeah, composition looks good, and then you realize, oh shit, no, actually, like you're a lot fatter
No,
than
I
you
was just
think.
fucking on shitloads of gear.
You know, like you're quite fat. You're just very full, and like as soon as you flatten off, you're like, oh no, there's a lot of fat there. Like people always say, there's always more to come off than you think, and I'd
Yeah,
almost rather like get the majority of the prep done now than have to deal with it later. Like
yeah, I get
if
you.
if in this next 6 weeks I'm on my ass, that's fine. Like I don't mind that because there's no urgency there. It's fine. If I need a diet break, if I need a refeed, if I need a deload, we can do that. And if we get to like the goal for prep for me is to have minimal to pull off, like as reasonably as you can, because you can't go into prep and be like, I'll pull off 5 pounds, because that usually means feeling shit for a long period of time. But I want prep
Yeah,
to be like we're way ahead, we're chilling, we're cruising. For me,
which
for me, it's not like it's not the composition that I find difficult. It's the food. So
mm,
if I'm very, very lean, like I remember when I took a refeed when I was like very lean, I was so lean, I was looking in the mirror and I was like, Jesus Christ, I feel awful. I don't know how long I can hold this for. Tom gave me a refeed. I felt sick. I was like, okay, no, I'm fine. First few weeks of reversing, where I pretty much like body weight stayed pretty much the same and composition
did you
stayed the
feel
same.
wank again?
What?
Did you feel wank again?
No, I feel great.
Oh, as in first few weeks of reversing, you
Yeah,
felt
yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Mate, like as soon as food, because the main thing for me was like energy. A lot of that was from Clen, like just fatigue. And I've said to Tom this time, no, no Clen, please, please, no Clen. But as soon as we pulled out Clen and we pushed food up, even by like 300-400 calories, and I got some carbs in there across like even 3 out of 5 meals, I just felt so much better. And I was like, you know what, I probably could hold this. I still got kind of fucked, and like I would train and I would feel a bit fucked. Day after legs, you feel a bit trashed, a bit more than usual, but like that's when I was like, oh shit, no, I can actually hold this composition. I just
Mm,
need to like have somewhat a decent amount of food in me. So I'm not really that worried about coming in to prep too lean because I know I can hold it. It's just making sure that I'm not in
right.
a crazy deficit. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
we'll see. Hopefully, less than 6 weeks. I don't want it to be 6 weeks. I'm not gonna lie. 6 weeks is a long time, and I don't want to diet. And I'm appreciating that I've only been pushing up for about 16 weeks, and I want that ratio to be a bit more
A lot.
favorable. Like, I'd rather pull down for like 3 or 4 weeks than 6. But
And just really get in them trenches. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, bruv, exactly. Get right in them trenches.
Fair,
But
fair, fair,
dieting,
fair.
I feel like dieting's a little bit easier than gaining. I'm not gonna lie. So maybe it's a nice little break.
Yeah, I think most people that are pretty experienced do fine, to be fair.
It just for me it's I guess it's a more rewarding process because like every box you tick you get instant gratification on, whereas like I'm only going to see the boxes I've ticked for the past 16 weeks as I get leaner now.
Yeah.
But like I did not see that, you take your shots, you're like, okay, I'm a bit fatter, or I look the same, or I'm a bit fatter. Like that's it. Every single week you take the same shots, and it's like you're still fighting for progression in the gym because I was lean. It wasn't like anything was flying up. Like the only thing that was flying up were lifts that I'm coming back from injuries from. So, but yeah,
Mm.
but I'm looking forward to it. To be fair, I'm shitting myself a little bit, but I'm looking forward to it.
So when are you gonna like properly start prep, do you think?
We're thinking around March, April,
Okay.
depending on condition mainly and shows that I want to do. There's one I want to do the back end of the year shows, just because
Right.
it gives me a bit more time to like get social events and shit out of the way, potentially earlier on in
Yeah.
prep if there's that wiggle room. But yeah, I mean, it depends like what composition is. The main card that I'm gonna play and that like me and Tom are thinking is literally just like go into prep already with ab veins. Like
Jeez.
I want my front to be pretty much in. Like
Okay.
when I'm there, like I want to
Okay.
be pretty much there, not on my ass. And then it's just like bringing in the posterior, holding that for an extended period of time because I feel like I said, I can hold composition well. So I just need to get myself there, and then once I'm there, I can hold it okay. But we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll
I
see.
get you.
But I can't really play the size game, so we move.
Yeah, fair mate. I'm the same. No size.
I feel that, bruv. I feel that. No size.
Actually small. But do you know what I did work out the other day, right?
Wow.
So I'm 155.6 today, right?
Yes, sir.
About as lean, maybe not quite as lean as when I competed, but pretty damn close, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was 120 when I competed.
Oof.
So I've put on fucking like
A damn
20,
good slab.
25 pounds of legit tissue,
Yeah.
which I don't think is too bad for a natty in 3 years.
That's
Just
really
cleaning my
fucking
car.
impressive, mate. That's really impressive. Especially for like, we're talking percentage wise, like 25 pounds as a percentage of 150 is insane.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, mate. Good shit. Do we have any topics to talk about today other than the fact that I'm going into a diet, you're pretty much coming out of one?
I'm not coming out. How dare you?
Fuck off.
Lol. No, not really. Did you see the coach that James Smith responded to? I'm pretty sure I sent it to you, right?
If you sent it to me, I'm inclined to say that I did, but I don't think so. No, you've sent the last thing you sent me was a Skyrim meme. You haven't sent me anything else.
No, this was like last week. Basically,
No, I didn't see it.
it's this coach. I just found it so funny, mate. I was talking to Kez about it
Yeah.
because I remember I was like, "What's the worst fucking thing in fitness?" This was ages ago. And she was like, something like, basically, this coach's niche is working with gay women.
Oh shit! Yes, no, sorry. Kez has sent that to
You know
me
what
as
I'm talking
well.
about
I've
now?
seen James Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah. You shared it on your story, I think.
I'm like, it's just so weird,
So
bro.
funny, so fucking funny. If anyone who doesn't know, it's like this a female coach who's like, what is it? She says she's like, if you want to know what to eat as a lesbian, if you're a lesbian and you want to know what
Yeah,
to eat, to like, as if being a gay woman gives you any different macronutrient requirements to a regular, I say regular, to a straight woman. Caught
oh.
myself there, Jesus. But I'm so baffled, so fucking baffled.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny.
I mean, there's having a niche. Like, I can back that as a niche, but you shouldn't phrase things like that because it is going to trick people into thinking that, like, oh no, I need the lesbian macros, not the women macros. I need the lesbian macros. These are women macros.
Yeah, and then there's fucking people in the comments, or she's saying in the comments that men can't tell women how many calories they need to eat.
Why?
Because if you're a man, mate, you just don't understand what it's like to eat calories as a woman.
So then she
You
can't
just
tell
don't get it.
men. She can't tell men what calories to eat. Then surely.
Well, she doesn't want to coach men, so that's fine, isn't it? Nuts,
Bizarre.
mate. It's
Bizarre.
fucking nuts. Like, I can understand maybe like this is how you should train as a gay woman or whatever, because the things that they might want to work on
Oh no,
might be a little bit
yeah.
different.
I
Like
can
they
see
might want to
that.
do a little bit more upper body training. That's fine, but I'm pretty sure thermodynamics is not influenced by your sexual preferences.
Unfortunately, not. Otherwise, you'd be fucked, mate. I don't even know what that means. I can
Yeah, I
see
don't
what you.
think that means
I can
either.
see what you mean with training though, because like there might be certain I mean, even then, like I'm sure the client would flag it up. I've got gay clients, and if they want to do a certain focus, I've got any client. If any client wants to do a certain focus, I
No,
will
you have
give
to
them.
be gay.
I will give them that focus. Only gay people get what they want from me. The rest, I just tell them what to do. But like, yeah,
Okay.
sure. Maybe there's certain like maybe she's taking gay women and she's kind of like she knows what the beauty standard for that is, so she knows kind of what to prescribe to them without telling them like, oh, I'm giving you a delt focus because lesbians love big shoulders and I'm not going to tell you that I'm doing that. I don't know, but surely
You know, but it just like to me, it
it's
just
weird.
screams predator.
It is a little bit weird that
Like
she's
it's
like,
like male glute coaches. I'm like, really?
Yeah. You mean,
You know what
yeah,
I'm
yeah. I get what
saying?
you mean. Yeah.
Like you can coach women, that's fine, but when you market yourself as a male glute coach, it's weird, bro.
Yeah, the fact that I think it's also quite telling that your idea of marketing to women is still just glutes. Like,
Fair.
sure, most of my female clients want a leg and glute focus, but they still have goals outside of that. Like, it's not as if we're just booty building all the fucking time.
Oh, what?
I know, right? Well, some girls
That's what
come
you
to you
told.
and they've already kind of got the glutes that they want because that's usually like number one priority, and a lot of girls like get it and then they're like, okay, I'm kind of done. Like, I want to maintain it, but I don't need any more. So then it's like, okay, what's your focus? Usually, a lot of women, if I'm generalizing my female clients, a lot of women like pull ups.
That's it,
I'm,
mate. Generalize.
yeah, bro, I'm going to generalize.
Oh yeah, literally. You're like anytime I'll be in the gym talking to a female, we'll walk past like this the pull up rack, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I want to do that."
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
it's quite, I think it's because if you're a woman who can do pull ups, like, that's a demonstration of like, you're really fucking strong, especially because like your average bloke can't do that.
Yeah.
And being able to do that as a woman is like, that's really fucking impressive, or that's how people perceive it, is like, that's really fucking impressive.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, pull-ups, usually like getting pretty strong at a leg press or squatting pattern, maybe a hinge is usually a focus. Obviously there's benefits to physique, and then you'll usually find, I find a lot of like female clients quite enjoy arm training as well, particularly biceps. Most,
Oh
I'd
yeah.
say on average, my female clients enjoy training biceps more than their male counterparts, which is quite funny.
That's nice.
I hate training biceps, so
That is.
I'm a statistic.
I do hate training biceps as well, mate. There's this one girl at the gym. She's an absolute fucking weapon. She'll literally bang out like 10, 15 pull-ups with 20 kilos strapped to her. It's
Ooh,
nuts.
that's impressive.
It's fucking nuts. I saw her the other day and I walked past. I just did a fucking double take. I'm like, oh my god, that's insane.
Is she wham?
Uh, pretty wham, yeah,
Fair, fair.
yeah. She is
We've got some
pretty
dead
wham.
air now. You've got some dead air. Did you see? Okay, we'll talk about news because I've sold a lot of news. Did you see, first of all, did you see Jeff Nippard? What's been going on with him?
I read a little bit of it today, but I'm not up to speed.
So there's this guy called Mike. I don't really know him that
Yeah,
well.
I know, Mike. Yeah,
Yeah, so Mike did a Mike did a reel being like, "Oh, science-based lifters." It basically to the effect of like, if you're a science-based lifter, how come you all look shit? Why does everyone who looks good?
yeah. And then Jeff responded to it, didn't he?
Yeah, listing all his accomplishments. Which, to be fair, I didn't know he was a pro, which is insane. Fair play to you.
Yeah. He's a pro bodybuilder, like fucking loads of records in powerlifting as well.
Yeah. So he lists all that, and then he's like, "Oh, if whoever's the most jacked knows the most shit, why does Chris Bumstead need a coach? Because clearly he would be the most knowledgeable man in all of classic physique. Why does he need a coach?" And he's like, "This
Yeah,
is such a dumb shit argument." Anyway, they were training in a gym. Jeff was filming a video. As it goes, Mike comes up to him, and Jeff's trying to be friendly, and Mike like takes him by the throat and pushes him over,
nice,
on camera. And
good.
apparently, like, Jeff's cameraman caught it, but apparently the gym CCTV has him like pushing Jeff's cameraman, and at another point pushing Jeff as well. And basically everyone's like, "What the fuck?" And so I don't think it's that much of a kind of a hot take to say that I'm on Jeff's side here very much. You just it's it's so pathetic, and it shows how shit his argument is, that he has to be like, I'm so pissed off that I can't even, I have nothing else to say. I'm just gonna fucking shove you against a wall or something. Like,
Yeah,
it's cringe and pathetic.
yeah, mate. It's nuts. It's fucking nuts.
It also doesn't do too well for the gym community or bodybuilding community, because it does make everyone look like a bunch of bro meatheads, who aren't willing to listen to science. And as soon as someone with anything interesting to say or scientific to say comes into the conversation, they get slammed against the floor, which is not good for the community. Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like Mike's one of those guys where you can't have an argument with him, like a reasonable argument with him about science related shit, because he's just like, no.
Yeah, he'd just be like, I'm bigger than you. And it's like, okay, cool. But you're also, I mean, if he's talking about Jeff, well, first of all, Jeff can't control his height. And also, Jeff is natty. So, like, I think Jeff as a natty would be better than Mike as a natty. Kind of an interesting debate that I wanted to talk about as well is like, so Fuad came out and said, because obviously he's on Fuad's podcast a lot. Fuad came
Yeah.
out and said, like,
Yeah, I saw this. That's what made me go and see what the fuck's happened here.
yeah, yeah. So you saw him be like, I'm not going to remove him from the pod
Yeah.
because he's not a fan of cancel culture. What do you think about that? Like, what's your opinion on that? Do you think he should remove him from the pod?
Uh, he could do whatever the fuck he wants. It's his podcast.
That's fair. What would you do if you were Fuad?
Um, based on what seems like has happened now, I somebody that would act in that way based on just a fucking Instagram discussion doesn't seem like somebody I particularly want to associate with.
Yeah.
But I agree with what Fuad is saying in the sense of there's so many people on the left that will cancel fucking anything for anyone.
Yeah.
And now the typical right-sided people are doing the exact same shit.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, this left-wing comedian isn't funny. Cancel them. No, they're just a shit comedian. Just don't go to their show.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I think the whole debate about cancel culture isn't very clear cut. I think it's like I definitely agree that you should lose a position or a job that you have if you fuck up. Like if you have a normal 9 to 5 job and you do something bad and it gets recognized, you will lose your job. And I think that's fair enough. Like companies have to be like, we cannot associate with you. The same way that like
But it depends how much it relates to the job, really.
It depends what it is, though. If it's something stupid, like if it's something,
Well, I don't know. If you're in a position where you're managing people and you're hiring people, and then you do something that's blatantly racist, like okay, yeah, you probably shouldn't be in charge of hiring the company and managing their performance.
I think
even if it's outside of work, it's something that almost crosses over.
I think for me, the issue isn't canceling people. Like I think it has a place, but it has to be warranted. It absolutely has to be warranted, because with people who are famous, there is a greater attention to detail on these people. If it's something that it's like, okay, most people would do that, it's silly. You know, say if it's like, oh, you got drunk and made a fool of yourself or something. Don't get cancelled.
Yeah, I know
People
a
do that all the
guy.
fucking time. That's so stupid.
I know a guy who it was like a big work party or something like that, like end of year Christmas party sort of thing.
Yeah.
And he was drunk and there was a song on, he's singing along to it and he sings the N word.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't really think that's that bad.
I'd
Like,
apologize.
it's not.
I'd still apologize.
Yeah. You can apologize. You can say sorry, I was drunk. It wasn't a very good thing to do.
There's no malintent.
But I don't think
really.
I don't think it's acceptable to ruin someone's entire life over that.
No, there's no malintent there, you know. And I think you kind of the punishment has to fit the crime. I mean, that's an iffy topic because neither one of us is really affected by the N word, but
and I guarantee the people that were upset about it weren't black people.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I guarantee there was nobody black involved.
It's a lot of overcompensating people.
Yeah. It's like, oh, we should feel bad about this shit.
The thing is, it's like, I think that doesn't quite deserve that because there's no malintent there. If you can prove that, like, he's a racist, fair enough, you know, like, if you can prove that he is, like, going out of his way to try and say, I don't know, if you can prove there's some malintention there, then sure. But that's the thing, I think people are like, oh, either cancel everybody or cancel nobody. And my position is like, you should have repercussions socially if you do something bad, because yes, there's legal repercussions, but like the legal system is pretty flawed. And just because like you got away with doing a crime or what you did technically isn't a crime, and it's just it's just socially unacceptable to do, like, doesn't mean that you should just face no consequence at all. I think you have to kind of, in the real world, there is consequence. There are these things like Jack Piad, for example, right? He should not be a coach anymore. He hasn't had any charges. He hasn't had any charges pressed against him. He absolutely should be cancelled, if that's the word you want to use, right? He should not be in this industry anymore. We can't just go, oh, cancel culture shit, let Jack Piad continue doing what he's doing. You know, the law will find a way. Like, no, he did something horrible. He's done multiple horrible things. Let's cancel him. But I don't think like a comedian telling an edgy joke that doesn't quite hit the right audience, or someone getting drunk and doing something that thousands of people do and it's not great, but it's still worth apologizing for. It doesn't make anything okay, but you kind of have to make the punishment fit the crime, right? I can understand Fuad not taking Mike off his podcast, but I feel like I probably Mike will get enough backlash that like he will get some form of repercussion for this. I think his name is pretty stained now, and that's probably enough. So I don't blame Fuad for keeping him on, but I feel like there should
Yeah,
always be
that's Fuad's decision. It's
yeah
fine. He
yeah
can do that.
yeah. There should be some form of like repercussion to those actions. I don't think Jeff will press charges. I don't think he will. I think it because realistically, like if you press charges for something like that, I don't think it's going to be that big of a sentence. It's not worth it. It's not worth the hassle. It's not worth pissing off Mike even more. And I think it just make Jeff look even better if he doesn't. If he's just like, I don't even care. Do whatever. I'm above this. It makes Jeff look even better, and everyone will support him even more. And that social support, that cultural support, is probably worth more, and will probably propel Jeff further and tear Mike down more.
Yeah, I think Jeff's one of those guys up there with like a John Meadows, a Chris Bumstead that nobody seems to have anything bad to say about.
Not personally, just belief system wise.
Yeah,
Like
but
Mike Israetel, people hate on him for his, I'm going to say, views on training, right? Their opinions on training. Again, opinions in inverted commas. People hate
yeah,
on
but
him.
nobody's like he's a shitty person.
No, yeah, absolutely agreed. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Like an example of this would maybe be okay. You say somebody who's a role model for young men. You've got Andrew Tate. You've got Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
Andrew Tate is a quote unquote role model for young men who says some fucking horrible shit about women.
Yeah.
Like the majority of what he says about you should take responsibility for yourself, you should try and earn some fucking money. Like, yeah, but then he goes
He
too
takes it too
far and
far.
just
Yeah.
says like fucking women should live at home and if they want to do anything else, they're sluts or whatever. And you're like, what the like this is not a good thing. The number of people that are getting the right message from that versus people that are hearing the wrong shit is just way too out of whack.
Yeah.
Whereas like I mean, Jordan Peterson's turned into a fucking culture warrior now, which is a bit sad. But
unfortunately, yeah.
A couple of years ago, like he was generally pretty damn good, and a lot of the shit that he should supposedly be cancelled for wasn't that bad, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like I remember, did you see when Chris Bumstead went on his podcast and there were loads of people in the comments like saying, "Don't, he shouldn't have fucking done this. This is outrageous." It's just having a normal chat.
Yeah. I think people kind of I think that's often like a lot of cancelling is political because like Jordan Peterson, I think he does sit just right of center. He's a bit more right wing. He's definitely more right wing than left wing, I would say. And like
he's right wing now. He's not actually that right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, grand scheme of things, there's there's way more right. But like if you are left leaning, it's easy to dislike him.
If you were left of center 10 years ago, you're now right wing.
In a way, yeah.
Basically how it works.
But yeah, like I think a lot of that is just like people extrapolate out what people are saying and then kind of like don't like it because it implies something that goes against what they're saying. And like I don't know, with Andrew Tate and Jordan Peterson, you can take shit that they've said and you can be like, this is not great, and you can take shit that they've said and been like, this is pretty good. Andrew Tate obviously far worse than Jordan Peterson. I mean, Jordan Peterson's nutrition advice is critique worthy, to be fair. Like,
yeah, but that's not his job.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
That's like somebody taking our opinion on politics as gospel. Like, fuck, what? No, this is just us chatting shit.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think I don't have an issue with the process of cancelling. I guess cancel culture is like an overzealous doing of it. That I guess that's the issue.
Yeah, it's the pendulum has swung way too far now.
Yeah,
like it's starting to swing back, I think.
I think so, but yeah, I think, like the thing is like boycotts and avoidance and like shit like that has and protesting has gone on for ages. And now because there's a lot of people who make a living just off of social media, that's entirely being liked. And like if you are not liked or not even if you are avoided, you lose all of that income. And yeah, I think there's a time and a place to just not let things fly. Like absolutely, it just depends what it is. But I think in this instance, I think some form of repercussion should happen. Most likely, public opinion is enough, but again, I think some form
Yeah,
of repercussion should
that's probably
happen.
what I say as well.
But I think
The
people also,
comedian one.
yeah, go
Sorry,
on.
carry on.
I was just going to say, I think people underestimate how big of an impact public opinion is. Like, I think it's very easy when you're in the group of people against someone to be like, we need more than this. We need more than just to dislike him. But if you are that person and you've got thousands of people who are disliking you, I think that probably in a lot of cases is quite a fucking bad punishment in and of itself, particularly if
Yeah,
that sticks.
if you do something bad 50 years ago, who knows that you're a cunt? The village.
Yeah,
That's about it. Maybe the papers if you're a really big cunt. But now it's like you've got constantly people in your comments telling you that you're a prick.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think the punishment has to fit the crime, and I think it's a great way of saying that this is unjust and this isn't okay when someone does something that is technically perfectly legal, but culturally not okay. Even though what Mike did is also illegal because it is assault. It does count as assault, and he did assault Jeff. But quite a lot of things count as assault. You can. I was watching this lawyer video. The If you threaten someone in some states, that's counted as assault. Showing intent to harm counts as assault. So there's quite a lot that you can do. Or like throwing paper at people can count as assault as well if it's shown to be like with malintent or like intent to harm or intent to threaten or out of anger or whatever. But I mean, he pushed Jeff by the neck twice and shoved his cameraman. That is assault. But yeah.
That's fucked. The cancelling comedians one, I don't get right. You know Jimmy Carr?
Yeah.
So just before his last special came out, he posted a video on social media and he was like, the next time I get someone try and cancel me for a joke that I make, I'm just going to say this to them. I'm sorry. Like fucking really sarcastic. And they're going to say, oh, you didn't mean that.
Yeah.
And his response is, now you understand how jokes work.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's just fucking insane. If the joke isn't funny, then no one laughs. Like that's it. And if they're a bad enough comedian, people just won't go to their shows. That's fine. You don't need to try and cancel them. Like the audience will dictate if something's funny or not.
Yeah, I think
If you've got a room full of thousands of people that laugh at a quote unquote racist joke, it was funny. They've just done a good job at their job.
I think
Like
the thing about jokes are like if it whenever people point out racist jokes, and don't get me wrong, there are racist jokes, but like whenever people point out like racist or
but the
sexist
worst ones
jokes,
aren't funny.
yeah,
You're just like that's too far. It's not funny.
a lot of the reason that the joke works is because it's a joke, like because it's not true. Do you know what I mean? Like a lot of like Jimmy Carr will like say tell like a joke about women that is like about I don't know fucking whatever like something to the like the punchline basically being that like oh my god it's so much easier with an actual joke, but what I'm trying to say is like the reason that the joke works is because the comedian doesn't believe what they're saying, otherwise it would just be a statement. The reason that everyone laughs and he tells it and laughs is because the like usually the key to a joke is that there's a double meaning or what you're saying isn't true or is unexpected. If I just say
Mm.
something that's true, that's not a joke. So if I say like again if we're doing a really shit joke, like if I make a shit training joke, if I say that the carnivore diet is the best way to train, that's a joke. If I say accurate nutrition is the best way to eat. That's not a joke, that's just a statement. The reason that me saying that like the carnivore diet is a great way to eat is a joke is because everyone knows it's not. And I'm saying that it's not. It's not something I believe. So you then can't really say, "Oh, Jack, you're promoting carnivore," because I'm not, because that was a joke, right? So Jimmy Carr basically making a joke to the extent of like men are above women is a joke because the punchline is they're not. I can understand how that still might piss you off or irk you, and I can understand how you could still make a case for okay, but you might be perpetuating something by telling it. But again, like the key of the joke is that Jimmy does not believe that. You can say, Jimmy, maybe you shouldn't tell that joke, but you cannot say that is not a joke because it literally hinges on being a joke. If it wasn't a joke, it would just be a statement. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, like, do you know who Matt Rife is?
Yeah.
He got quote unquote cancelled for a domestic violence joke, but the majority of people that go to his shows are women.
Yeah.
So, like, they clearly can't be that offended for it. Or there'll be like a disabled person in the audience, and he'll make disabled jokes to the disabled person, and they are fucking laughing the hardest out of everyone. Like, I think it's quite patronizing to say, "Oh, you can't joke about that." They wouldn't be able to take it very well. They can't take a joke. You can't make jokes about them. Like, who the fuck are you to say that somebody won't find a joke about them funny? They probably just want to be included.
Yeah, I think a lot of like
If they're offended, and that's absolutely fucking fine.
I think a lot of people like kind of I don't know, it is a weird double standard that they're like you can't say that about a group of people, but then you're kind of speaking on their
But then,
behalf.
yeah,
And like I think again I get it like okay they're a marginalized group and you're trying to give them a voice and stuff like that. But I think there is a time and a place to just be like I don't know, I'm not disabled. I don't know how I'd react to that joke. Let's maybe ask someone disabled. Like let's like
let's
maybe
tell
ask
it to
them.
someone disabled and see if they laugh or not.
Yeah, and but again that's also going to be like person to person. So some people are going to be okay with that and some people are not going to be okay with that. And comedy is a weird one because it's like okay, at what point is enough people not being okay with it the point where you say because theoretically there is a tipping point where you say enough people have said this is not okay and they're affected by it for it to not be okay. But
Yeah, and then Dave Chappelle's last special as well. People were giving him backlash because he made a trans joke, and I was like, I just don't find the joke funny. It's just not a good joke.
mm, yeah,
That's why I didn't like it. I'm not like if you want to watch the special, fine, fucking do it. But I didn't find that joke funny.
yeah,
But there's people that do find it funny. There's people that find it really fucking offensive.
yeah. I think again it all comes down to like the audience of the joke. Like the main people who should be like interacting with Dave Chappelle and talking about whether that joke's okay or not should be the trans community because they're the one in the joke. Like, I'm not trans, I can't really say if it's okay or not. I can tell you if I find the joke funny or not, but again, that's different to a joke being okay. Because you can laugh at a joke and still be like, oh my god, that's a horrible joke and that's incredibly offensive,
Yeah,
but I still
because
find it mildly funny.
you get that in comedy. There's people laughing, and then there's people that go like
Yeah,
when the joke's really when it's really fucking cutting it.
yeah, exactly. Uh, Comedy is a weird one because inherently it relies on shock value. Like, if you know what the punchline is, you're not going to find it funny. It relies on changing expectation and shocking you. And like that's also when you take a when you take a joke out of context or you kind of look at it on its own, it just looks like a shocking sentence. It's very hard to like comedy's a weird one to police, isn't it? Because like you're trying to be unexpected and you're trying to shock people. And comedians are going to tell jokes that they know, like, a comedian isn't going to make fun of someone who's like a straight white man for being a straight white man because that's not that shocking. Like, if you call me a cracker, I don't really care, right? Like, sure, you could maybe someone else white is going to be offended by that. I don't really give a shit. That's not really shocking to me. But if you're, making fun of like a marginalized group, that's more shocking. So there's more inherent comedic value to it, and I think that's where things get.
Mm.
That's why those jokes originate because you have to target shock.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So going back to the Jeff and Mike thing, like you're talking about the context and the people that are involved there.
Yeah.
I actually think having the context of the situation makes it even fucking worse that that's what he did it for. Do you know
The
what I'm saying?
What do you mean?
Like it's just such an escalation
Yeah.
that I'm like, what?
I think it also kind of like the thing is he was kind of championing like the anti training science banner, which is an interesting banner. I can I I'm anti over analysis, but I wouldn't say I'm like anti like science based lifting because if that's what you enjoy, and there's a lot of inherent value in it, man. Like, and a lot of science as well is looking at anecdotes. Like, scientists are going to go to a group of big bodybuilders and be like,
The people that say anecdotal evidence or experience isn't evidence are just as stupid
yeah,
as the people that disregard all science whatsoever.
exactly. If you look at like, let's say that for the sake of argument, like when we're looking at like bodybuilding, the clear through line is like protein, lifting weights, that being challenging, and genetics. So then you can look into the science and you can be like, oh shit, yeah, no, those things do correlate. Okay, cool. But some people are able to do low volume, high intensity, and some people are able to do high volume, lower intensity. And it's like, oh, okay, scientifically, we can
Mm-hmm.
see why both of those might work. One isn't better than the other. And we see that represented. If every single Mr. Olympia was super high volume, I guarantee there would have been a lot more earlier studies on volume and muscle growth and instantly. Whereas, you've got like things like Mike Mensa in the early Nautilus days, although some of those studies are a little bit flawed, they were looking into intensity because they were seeing more and more of their athletes responding to it. So they were like, holy shit, anecdotally, this is great. What does the study say? What does the science say? Right? Anyway, like fucking that's besides the point. Like Mike is flying this like anti-science based lifting banner, which I think is a pretty fucking stupid banner. Because first of all, when it first started, they didn't know that protein built muscle. What got them there? Science. So if you don't like science, shouldn't we go back to that? Anyway, like it's a weird banner, but he's also put his camp back so far now because Jeff's rebuttal was amazing, and his response was, "I have nothing to say. I'm just going to punch you." And I think that kills
Yeah,
that
and
argument.
when you put your flag in the sand there and say that all science is fucking bad and useless and whatever,
Yeah,
you then can't go back on that because that's the audience of people that you've built.
yeah, exactly. The it's such a strange. I absolutely get where it's coming from, right? I think a lot of anti-science based lifters hate over-analysis. They see a kid who's 6'5", 120 pounds, skinny as a twig, who's concerned about how lengthened his bicep curl is. And he's concerned with how close to failure he is, specifically represented as RIR, rather than just pushing a set to failure. He's constantly making changes to his plan. He's over analyzing like his bicep insertions to be like, oh, which head of the bicep should I prioritize growth for, right? I do see that myself. Like within some gym population, there are people who message me who are in their first year of training who are getting their testosterone checked, and it's like it's normal. It's not high end of normal, but it's average. Cool, that's fine. You're fine. You
Yeah,
don't need to max that out, right? But I do see that, and I think that's where the pushback comes from. And I definitely get like I get some of that flack on my page myself for people being like, "Oh, you're over analyzing." Like, I don't think I am. I'd say over analyzing comes when you then can't make a solid decision of what to do, or you're constantly changing because you're constantly analyzing what else am I missing. I think that's over analyzing. But putting a high
mm-hmm.
level of detail into a training plan and then running it for an extended period of time, I don't have an issue with. But it's just so weird because like people view what's coming out now as over analysis, but like this what you now know, like basic shit that people take for granted of like the bench press works the pecs, the squats generally work the quads, like things that people take for granted, right? How do you think we got
Yeah,
there? Like protein builds muscle. How do you think we got there? Some guy didn't just it wasn't just known. Like we got there through science. We got there through people inventing these movements and anecdotally going, okay, I feel this. Mechanically, what makes the most sense, like if you look at what muscles are trained in a lift, it's physics, it's moment arms, it's leverages, it's also a knowledge of anatomy. That's biology,
But
right?
even then, you can get that anecdotal experience of, I just like mechanically, this might be quote unquote better, but
Yeah.
this one feels better and I like this one more. And that shit matters as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels very much like a kind of defensive move from people because they don't, maybe that's not how I did it, so that's not how you should do it, and kind of
Mm,
I don't know, it's very weird, but it particularly, I feel like it's very old school lifters, typically enhanced. Again, like, do you have a knowledge of pharmacology? Do you like, they'll talk all day about AIs and test, and it's like, okay, that is science. So again, I
mm,
just don't get it. It's very weird. I feel like if there was a line in the sand that they could kind of clearly draw as like, here's how much science I am comfortable with, here's how much science I'm not comfortable with, and here's why, right?
mm.
And I can absolutely get saying to someone who's new to the gym, you're over worrying about things. You don't need to know what iliac fibers are. Just train your back for a little bit, please. Right? Like, again, I can absolutely get saying that to someone. But also, I don't have an issue with people who are new to the gym jumping straight to, like, I'm going to concern myself with minutia. Like, because you can be brand new to the gym, you can learn about, splitting up your pec training and your back training and even your lat training and make a great program that an advanced lifter might follow and then run that. And there's nothing wrong with it. You're not going to grow any less because of it. But
Yeah.
if that over concern causes you to chop and change because you're like, oh, there's not enough, teres major in my plan. There's just a little bit too much like rear delt, not quite too much rear delt and lat, not quite enough teres major. I'd kind of like to bring that up a little bit. It's like, okay, yeah, probably over analyzing if you're constantly making changes, but it's a weird line in the sand for me, and I don't like it.
Mate, literally, fucking literally.
Luke's energy is suffering. You can tell that I'm
Yeah.
not
I
yet
need to go and
properly
eat now.
halting. Is that it? Are we wrapping up?
Mate, I don't think we really spoke about any fitness shit that day
We
or
did
today.
we did politics. Fucking hell, the backlash to this episode is going to be interesting. It's going to be very Marmite, I think.
Give us your thoughts, people. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be very, very interesting. Um, okay, Luke, do you want to wrap up? I've done a lot of talking.
Yes, people, thank you very much for listening. If you want to see me punch Jack in the face, in the throat, a donation of £79 each will do it. And if we
No,
get
that's too
10 donations,
expensive. Drop it down. Drop it down. That's too expensive.
we
Seven
do like 2p,
£7.90.
£7.90. Okay, if we get 10 donations, then I will punch Jack in the throat and film it and make sure that everyone sees.
And call me a science-based lifter, a filthy science-based
Yeah,
lifter.
he is too science-based. He is too
I
science-based.
can confirm. If you want to find us on Instagram, if you want
Brilliant.
coaching for whatever reason, Luke's Instagram is LacticAddictLuke. Send him a DM or inquire through link in bio. If you're after me, it's JackArcherCoaching. Don't hire either one of us, by the way. My Instagram is
We're both too
JackArcherCoaching.
science-based.
We're both very science-based, horrifically science-based. We're going to, the first week of training, we don't even get you training. We literally just sit you down and give you an anatomy lesson.
That's exactly
Yeah,
what we do.
exactly. We do a 2-year anatomy course and then we can start training. You need to know what you're doing first. We focus on gait analysis too, all the time. You need to walk perfectly. When you get in the gym, you're going to walk perfectly with perfect gait. Anyway,
If you don't walk to the right, if you don't walk to the machine perfectly, then you build no muscle.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, your left leg is half an inch longer than the other one. You need an insole. Oh, quick, get that in there. If you want to work with either one of us, DM or link in bio. We both have YouTubes, the exact same name as our Instagram. Thanks for watching what episode this is. Please don't cancel us. We're both just a couple of boys, just little baby boys. Thank you all for listening. Goodbye.
In a bit.